Hello, my friends. Hello. Here we are. It is. I'm a little bit high. Not high, not that sort of high. We'll see how I behave. But no, it's early in the morning here. I'm not high. Although I have done a very good, nice meditation. But here we are. Come down on my seat. So, welcome, my friends. It is Chat with Matt. It is episode 16. It is the 24th of April 2019 here in New Zealand. I know we're a day ahead of the Americas. It's just the way it is. Don't take it personally. It's Chat with Matt. So, half an hour. That's my intention to be in and out of. If I sit back a bit further, that might look better. In and out of a chat, open to answer any questions that you might have who are on here live or any request. And I've got some stuff that's been posted in the notification post, so I'm going to start there. Hey, Sister Robin, how are you? Must be getting exciting now. What's today? Wednesday, and you're getting married on Saturday. Woohoo! So I'd announce it to everyone who's here. Robin's getting married to Matt, not me, but another Matt. Matt, Man and Robin. Here we go. Anyway, let's get started. Sister Leslie was the first to write in a question, I think. Oh, no, she wasn't actually. Sylvie was, but we're starting with Leslie anyway. Top of the list. And I've posted something from Jen that she popped on the other in the group, but I moved it over here. Here for the goodness. We'll send plenty of goodness your way, Robin. Hey, Sister Kelly, welcome. Happy rebirth to all. I know. It's exciting, isn't it? On the other side of Easter, the full moon was a kicker. I won't say a killer, but it certainly had some intensity to it, so that was exciting. And now, hey, great that you're here, Leslie, so perfect. We will start with your question or your request. So here we go. And it's interesting. I was just talking about, we've been working a little bit more with the body, in the meditation that I did in our, internal group, which you're not a part of, but you're welcome to join. Paid subscription group, the Mantara Transformation and Empowerment Support Community. I'm getting better with the title. I am intending to get a shorter title for that group. Part of my marketing list to dream up a better title. But anyway, have been talking about bodies, and we did a fantastic meditation of around body acceptance. I think it was fantastic anyway. Yeah, Kelly, that moon was super intense, but feeling like I came out of the ashes. Yeah, Phoenix reborn. Anyway, let's move on, because otherwise I chat away and don't deliver any content, and we're here to deliver some content around. Leslie Ann wrote in, I'm going to read it. A number of physical things came up. I'll try and read it properly. A number of physical things coming up for me. Finally addressing this shoulder issue, which I found out was tendinitis, and just started to address that and had an injury with my foot, also tendinitis. It's been over 2 months, still hasn't healed yet. And then now I have pinched nerve in the shoulder neck area that's been almost excruciating past couple of days. It's weird because I really wanted to finally get into better shape this year. It's kind of hard to not feel the universe is out to get me. I know that that's not true, and trying to see instead it's all part of my path to enlightenment. Would love your comments on this. Thank you. Awesome, Leslie Ann. I'm not sure if you're a Leslie Ann or just a Leslie and Ann's in the middle, but it doesn't matter. Either way, if I just call you Leslie and it is Leslie Ann, please forgive me. I've got a funny thing about names. I like to get them right, and yet I don't. It's very hard to tell when working with Facebook. Anywho's. So, understanding where we're going to start here. The story. Okay, so there's a few stories intertwined here, and there's a few other things that I wanted to point out here. The wanting to finally get into better shape is also interesting. But let's maybe start with the story of tendinitis to start with. Let's just pick out that word, tendinitis, just to understand what tendinitis is. It's a symptom rather than a cause. Yeah, it's causing the pain, but it's not the cause of the issue, right? Tendinitis is an inflammation of the tendon, and we have to start thinking about, or we don't have to start thinking about, it's going to serve you to understand that something is causing that inflammation. It's not just a naughty tendon, right? It's the tendon's just it's not just bad luck, but the tendon's become inflamed. Something has created the tendinitis, the inflammation of the tendon, which is then creating pain every time you try and use that tendon, right? Because now it's inflamed, it can't go through the sheath, the thing that it flows through easily, so there's friction, and that's basically what pain is in this case. So it's an inflammation issue. It's also interesting that you've had this inflammation in your shoulder, and now a foot injury, so that implies that you damaged it in some way, has also become tendinitis. So the tendon is now inflamed there. To me, that, on a very 3D reality world, that indicates that you've got an issue with inflammation in your body, right? So most likely running more acidic than alkaline, or there's foods in your diet or things that you're doing that is creating conditions that are conducive to inflammation occurring in the body, right? So inflammation occurs easily if something gets a little bit damaged, then this inflammation is happening. Ideally, that's not the case. So you might like to look at 1, increasing your water intake, 2, increasing your alkalizing your body in some way, and there's a myriad of ways to do that, but basically eating less processed food, less heavy meat, dairy, grain-based food, and moving more to, and I presume you're in the northern hemisphere, moving more to, as you're moving into summer, spring, moving more into fresher salady type greens and fresher food that's going to help to alkalize your body. And of course you can do other things such as, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar. There's debate on all of these things, bicarbonate of soda. I'm not entering into that debate right now. I'll let you wade through that, but generally it's going to serve you to alkalize your body. One of the biggest ways to alkalize your body, that's mainly overlooked, is to breathe more, right? When you oxygenate your body, that is alkalizing, and when you're running anaerobic, right, without enough oxygen in your body, that creates acid conditions, right? Actually produces acids, lactic acids, and different acids in the body when you don't have enough oxygen in your bloodstream. So doing some more deep breathing, conscious breathing, and if you've listened to any of these, and I know you've listened to, these Chat with Matts before, that I'm quite big on choosing to stop and breathe and consciously breathe and to breathe deep regularly throughout your day, right? It's going to help you release stress, and stress creates acid in the body as well, right? Stressed state is an acid state. And so relaxing, breathing more, drinking more water, and eating good food is all going to help the symptomology of what you're experiencing. And yet there's still underlying energetics behind this, right? You've mentioned that you want to move, wanted, which is, saying that you don't have that yet, get into shape, finally get into better shape this year. So this is an ongoing issue with your body. You're judging it as not being in shape, which may be valid on some level, right? But the judgment is generally what will never help, right? Judging the body not being in shape. So love, right? Bringing more love and compassion into both your shoulder and your foot, and this pinched nerve thing going on in your neck, shoulder, neck, so that you can relax out of the wanting to get into shape and just allow yourself to be in shape. Whatever shape that might be, allow yourself to be in it, right? I'm in this shape in an accepting way, and allow yourself to find strength in accepting yourself as you are, right? Find the strength in that. As you move forward as accepting yourself and as you are, your body will morph, your body will change, your body will transform and evolve into a shape that is more aligned with the happiness that you're choosing, more aligned with with your desires, right? So the difference between wanting something and intentionally choosing it, right? Having a desire, then intentionally choosing it. So as you intentionally choose to get into shape and take proactive action in that direction, which might involve diet, which might involve exercise. And I know that's hard when you've got a foot and a shoulder and a neck that aren't comfortable, but doing what you can and allowing yourself to, focus on the outcome rather than the problem, right? I talk a lot about this as well, getting out of the problem-centric, just make sure I'm not missing notification, whatever we call those things, comments, getting out of problem-centric thinking and into outcome-centric outlook, right? So maintaining an outlook or an intention or a vision of how you wish to be in the world, right? And more than just the image of that, but the feeling of that. So feeling free in your body, feeling comfortable in your body, feeling strong and flexible in your body, feeling happy in your body. You're choosing to bring that in. You're choosing to envisage it. You're choosing to remind yourself of that's the direction that you're evolving in, rather than allowing your mind, and you have to allow your mind to then throw up all of the reasons why that's not happening, all of the problems, right? And so as those problems arise out of your mind, because that's a natural thing the mind does, whenever we envisage anything, our mind tries to get us there. And our mind is basically has a negative bias. All of our minds have negative biases where we put more weight on the problems, and because problems are potential dangers, and our mind, our ego self, is very, very keen to stay alive. And so we put a lot of weight on anything that can be against us, more than putting weight on things that we actually enjoy, because for the ego, that's more trivial, right? Enjoyment is much more trivial than survival. So problems are much more important than joys. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us, because as we focus on the problems, we give more energy to the problems, and the problems become bigger in our life. Therefore, the ego is kept very busy working with all of these problems, which the ego loves because it feels important. But we, the being, miss out on enjoying our life, which is what we came here to do. So we need to hack through this negative mental bias and to continue to keep, and it takes some diligence, takes some discipline, and I'm going to talk about this because Jen wrote in, working with empowered discipline. So it takes some discipline, some commitment to keep choosing not to allow the mental bias of negative problem-centric thinking to predominate our space, to predominate our being, to predominate our mental landscape. So they come up, and it's important that we don't try and repress them or suppress them, but we just relax out of them. We go, yeah, thank you, mind. I know there's a whole heap of problems out there. The world is full of problems. There's no shortage of problems. Thank you for reminding me. But right now, I'm focused on where we're going, right? I'm focused on the joy of living in a comfortable body. I'm focused on allowing the inflammation in my shoulder to release. I'm allowing this tension that's pinching nerves in my neck to relax, right? And I'm consciously breathing out and softening. Now, that can, there's a trip hazard there, that when we start focusing on, again, the problem and breathing out and relaxing, that we start wanting to see proof that that my neck's getting better. Now that I'm investing time in breathing and relaxing, I want to see proof that it's working, right? And that creates, again, another level of contraction. So bringing in the discipline to breathe and relax and soften without needing to look for proof that it's working, without needing to measure how much pain I'm in all of the time. Just, pain's there. Okay, it's a sensation, and it can be distracting, or you can distract yourself from the pain. You can engross yourself in where you're going, what you're doing, what inspires you with joy, and allow that pain to lose its hold over your attention, and thus it will dissipate, right? Whatever we give our attention to, we feed, and whatever we feed grows stronger. So the more that you can take your attention off the pain and put it into a joy, into a project, into an outcome, into a purpose, then the pain loses its power over us and it diminishes its intensity. So there's been quite a bit there, I know, Leslie, but hopefully I gave you some comments there on both the physical things that you can do, very, very grounded physical things to alkalize your body and to help the inflammation reduce, and also more of the energetics to work in there. And I haven't really touched on the underlying cause of, what burden are you carrying in your shoulder and what are you scared to step forward into, right? Because foot, shoulder issues and feet issues, we could dig deeper here. But this chat with Matt is not really a private it's not really a private session. You're most welcome to send me an email and hook up with me and we can do some more work. But for now, I think that's good for all of us to hear, because there's definitely a lot of gold in that. Let's move on. Do we talk? Well, why don't we flip up here to Jen's comment? You are very welcome, Leslie. Why don't we flip up here to what Jen Burns wrote in, and I'll dance with that before we go down to Sister Cecilian's question on hunger and medication, which is, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to answer that, so I'm avoiding it for now. Okay, so Jen wrote in, I know you've mentioned this before, but empowered discipline. I think for me, it's about being connected with a clear why around my mission, which I find resistance to. Yeah, okay, so great. There's two aspects to this. So let's talk a little bit about discipline and the word discipline and why it's easy to have a disempowered version of discipline, right? The empowered discipline is, I've put that empowered word there to differentiate the idea between a mental discipline that runs from fear, right? Fear of not achieving, fear of the consequence, which is what, we've used as discipline in the past. External discipline quite often uses this method, right? Do this or else, right? Stay on the right side of the law or else you will be judged and then sentenced and then punished, right? Discipline imposed upon us. Now, self-discipline, which is what we talk a lot more about, can also come from fear of a consequence. Oh, I need to do that, or else my wife will be angry with me, or else my boss won't give me a raise, or will sack me, or whatever, right? So this idea of pushing ourselves to do things that we have resistance to doing for whatever reason, and we can talk about different resistances, right? Whether the resistance is coming because it really doesn't serve us to do something and we're pushing ourselves through something that our soul doesn't want to do, or the resistance is coming from our emotional self, right? It's a resistance left over from a habit or a false belief or a disempowering belief. False is an interesting word. A disempowering or a limiting belief that we're holding from the past, right? And we know it would serve us to step forward, but we have resistance to stepping forward. And therefore it's requiring us to be disciplined to step past our resistance, not wanting to do something because it's perceived as dangerous or it's perceived as uncomfortable, speaking in public, phoning someone and telling them your truth, saying no, saying yes, whatever it might be, right? We recognize that we've got resistance to things, and we also recognize in our heart that we would really want to do it or not do it or whatever, but we're having trouble making that choice because of our resistance to it. And so it requires a level of empowered discipline to step past that. Because if we do it just because fear, well, if I don't do it, I'll be a failure, it runs our vibration down. When we're choosing to discipline ourselves from fear basis, we are lowering our vibration and we're creating more contraction, and we're not really in that expansive evolutionary spiral, which is what we all really truly desire to be in, especially from a soul or higher self perspective. So we can discipline ourselves from the idea that we are loving the idea of breaking out of our old habits. We're loving the idea of being more expansive. We're loving the idea of connecting more with what we feel is purposeful. We're loving the idea of having more freedom in our life. And therefore we're willing, because discipline sounds like the opposite of freedom, but it's not. It's the road to freedom. No one achieves their freedom if they don't commit, which is another word that I use instead of discipline, or devote, right? Commit themselves to taking action or devote themselves to taking action. Devotion for me is just a commitment that comes from the heart, right? That's how I distinguish the difference. Commitment is more mental. Devotion is more more heart-based, right? More feeling-based. So when we get devoted, we're basically making a commitment from our heart to follow a certain something, right? And, I talk a lot about not getting caught up in getting devoted or honoring our word, our promise from the past. So, e.g., not making a promise to do something and then feeling that you have to do it at all costs, right? That you can't go back on that. It's counter-evolutionary to my mind. Very important to me to be able to renegotiate anything that I thought was a good thing to do in the past in today's energy with today's knowledge and wisdom, right? Because I'm growing all of the time. So if I say, I'm never going to eat meat again, and I said that 25 years ago, I didn't actually, I just gave up meat. I've been vegetarian for 25 years. But the point is, and this is just an example, I don't feel that I'm going to eat meat again in a hurry, but I'm just using this as a promise that people make, right? Or promise to, get married, right? Promise to stay with someone for the rest of my life. If I just submit or surrender myself to a promise I've made in the past, that I'm not willing to renegotiate that, to re-inquire, to is this really serving me to maintain this marriage, or to maintain the vegetarian status, or to maintain, whatever I've promised, chosen, committed to in the past, without taking into account how I'm feeling about that today. And I don't mean just, I'm not going to get divorced just because I'm feeling a bit off today, just because I saw someone walk past and I got quite attracted to her, right? Not allowing just fleeting emotions to take me out of important commitments that I've made, or important relationships that I've built, or important practices or beliefs that are serving me, right? Not allowing the surface stuff to wash through that. But if the fundamentals change in my marriage, if the fundamentals change in my body and what diet serves me, then just sticking to an old promise is not going to serve me moving forward. It's not going to serve me, and it's not going to serve anyone else. It's not going to, serve Marie if the fundamentals of our relationship have significantly changed, and yet we feel that we need to stay together because we've promised to do so, however long that was ago now, 19 years ago. That's crazy, right? It's just crazy. So the only thing that we really need to stay committed to is our own heart. The only thing that we need to stay devoted to loyal to, is our own heart, our own soul, our own knowingness, and to be willing to really inquire deeply and to think carefully about any promise or action that we're making with that in mind. Have I lost the plot here? No, I haven't lost the plot. Have I come off the topic? So we're talking about empowered discipline, and Jen very correctly wrote in, I think it's connected with a clear why around my mission. So that's it. So when you're looking to find this level of devotion, or this level of commitment, or this level of discipline that comes from love, right, rather than fear of missing out or fear of getting it wrong, it's beneficial to remember what is driving me forward here. Right? What is my big why in the world? For me, my big why is I'm here to express myself in the most expansive way possible, in the most truthful way, without getting lost in human concepts of truth, lies and true and lie, bullshit, in the most real, authentic way. I'm here to express my soul's being, my higher self's being, through my physicality. My big why for doing all of my practices and even showing up doing this live stream is to help me slowly peel away my egoic resistance, my not good enough, my wanting to stay small and safe and all the rest of it, peeling that away so that I can more truthfully, eloquently, fully step forward into being a channel, right? And not getting woo-woo about the channel, but basically being an expression of myself, being a bigger expression of myself, right? So mission for me, and everyone has a different connotation of mission, but I don't get too caught up in, right, I'm here because I have to work with Mantara and spread the light language and do this and do that, right? Mantara may choose to keep working with me or not. I have no control over that. That's their choice. But if just Hang on 1 second. Awesome, I don't need to sign? Right. Sorry, courier at the door. I wasn't sure if I needed to sign or not. Anyway, so the point is, mission, I don't lock down at all. My mission is very, very broad, and it's just basically to express myself authentically and truthfully and expansively in each moment of now as best I can. Right, I need to bring compassion into that because it's not an easy task, right? So, but when I'm sitting here and I'm, if you just saw my desk at the moment, I've got about 8 lists in front of me of things that I'm doing and working on. And just last night I was, I'm quote unquote trying to finish this sleep package. I have finished this sleep package. Now I'm writing the marketing and just getting my ducks in a row to put this out there so that you guys can buy it, right? So I can make some money from this and share it with the world. So, but the level of resistance that comes through for me personally doing that marketing type stuff, doing the nuts and the bolts, I love going in and recording MP3s and putting it together. And I don't even mind writing the description of the MP3 and making a little, the artwork and whatnot. That's creative and it's fun. But when it comes to the selling side of it and the resistance that I have to all of that, it's intense, right? So when I'm sitting there and I'm stuck in my resistance and my limitation and I'm not wanting to do it, and I can hear Marie's in the next room watching something on YouTube or something, watching some form of entertainment, and I'm thinking, I could just go and it's like the pull, right? So what helps me stay quote unquote disciplined to keep working through that and to work forward with that as best that I can is the why, right? Is the why. Why am I doing this to myself? And some would say, Matt, you really just need to employ a VA or a manager to do all of that stuff for you. And you just focus on what would be best, on what you do really well. And I hear that and I recognize that. And there's still a part of me that is so intent on stepping through my resistance to this and allowing myself to become free of being so limited by this resistance to me marketing myself, me working with the nuts and the bolts and the money side of it. So the why keeps coming back, and the why is I'm here to express myself fully. I'm here to be fully unlimited in what I can express and what I can bring through to the world. And so that why, and loving the outcome that I'm envisaging for myself, which is being, successful and getting this message out to more and more people and helping people grow and living a reasonably abundant and full life myself, is what drives me forward. The love of that, not the fear of if you don't get this done, you're going to fail. That's not going to work, right? And of course, there's a to and fro going on the whole time I'm working with my resistance, right? There's part of me that wants to hit me with a stick for being so useless, hopeless, and not good enough. And there's part of me that's going, breathe and relax. And my computer goes bing every now and again to remind me to take some deep breaths and to relax into it and trust that it's a process that I'm going through. I'm deliberately triggering myself by doing things that I don't enjoy, that I'm not good at, so that I can release that bullshit resistance that I'm carrying. Okay, I've got about 4 minutes left to talk about this next thing. So that's basically what empowered discipline is. Connecting into the why of what you love and choosing to stay committed, devoted, disciplined to move towards it despite the resistances coming up, and avoiding yourself using fear-based, degrading techniques to try and push your way through it, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just drives your vibration lower, which means those fears become even more prevalent in your life. Sister Emily Rose, good morning. I'm almost finished. Okay, so Sister Sicilian wrote in, basically, I take some medication that makes me very hungry. When I was off this medication, I had the will and the strength to lose 20 kilograms, but since I needed it again, I've regained 16 so far in a year. How can I forgive myself? Well, that's just a choice, right? How can I forgive myself? Take a deep breath and choose to forgive yourself and resist this huge hunger. I thought that when it strikes back, I could go for 20 minutes of meditation. It's going to be very hard to meditate when you're feeling really hungry. It's going to be easier for you to do some deep breathing. You're welcome, Leslie. I'm glad you found that discipline discussion beneficial. But it's every 2 hours. So hunger hitting every 2 hours, basically stimulated by the medication. So this is a difficult thing to overcome. But we might just start by mentioning Sister Sylvia and everyone else who's, got similar issues where there is, a perceived direct cause of something that's negative in your life, right? So it's important that first that we can accept that, there is reasons for this hunger and it is very hard, and you can bring compassion and forgiveness to your body when you choose to eat, because this hunger is, intense, and it's manipulated by chemicals that you're putting into your body in the form of a medication, or anything else that may be similar for other people. So accepting that that's the 3D reality, and then choosing to remember on a higher plane, everything is energy and everything is just the story of our perception. And so there's a story around this medication produces extra hunger, and there's a story that it's quite intense, and you've proved it to yourself in the 3D reality that this in fact is true, because you've taken the medication, you've felt the hunger, and you've overeaten, and you're not liking that. So again, it comes back to choosing not to be too problem-centric here, and choosing to hold a higher perspective that everything is in fact energy, and even though that energy has a very real effect from a certain perspective, from our limited human viewpoint of it all, this cause and effect is taking place, no doubt about it. But if you can relax into a more expansive reality out of that story, seeing it all as a big play, then you can potentially defuse this whole cycle. You can diffuse this whole cycle by choosing to maintain a more expansive outlook on it. Again, getting out of problem-centric viewpoint and choosing to allow yourself to focus on the outcome that you desire, which is basically to be happy and comfortable in your body. I know you've got a short-term, to your mind, your logic, losing some kilos, so losing some weight is part of that. But rather than getting fixated on trying to lose weight, choose to allow yourself to become fixated on becoming happy and comfortable in your body, and allow your body to do whatever it needs to accommodate what best serves you. So, focus on that outcome. And I would encourage you, rather than to try and meditate through the hunger, to just breathe, right? To really breathe in with the choice that as you bring the oxygen into your body, that you are nurturing and you are sustaining and you are fulfilling and you are satisfying yourself, because this hunger is like a non-satisfaction, right? You don't feel satisfied. You need to eat to satisfy yourself. But perhaps you could work with your breath to choose to breathe in energetically to satisfy your hunger. Satisfy your hunger with your breath. Choose to breathe into your belly. Feel your belly rise, and choose to bring in a sustenance that is satisfying in a non-physical, well, it is physical because it's air, but in a non-calorific way, right? It's actually going to promote your metabolism. You also talked further down here that this medication is slowing your metabolism, and one of the ways to build our metabolism is to breathe into our belly, right? Because it basically fires up our solar plexus, which is the energy behind our digestion, right? Our Jata Agni, the digestive fire. So as you breathe into your belly, you are like stoking the bellows of a fire, building a fire up, bring more oxygen in to burn this fire more hotter, more stronger in your belly, which will help you to burn off calories as well as burn off toxins in your body, right? So choose to breathe deep intentionally, and choose to do it regularly to both satisfy your hunger, to speed up your digestion, and to help yourself relax into the outcome that you're choosing to attain. The outcome that you're choosing to attain, rather than getting into this fight with the hunger and the medication that's causing it, and then feeling down on yourself, and then feeling you need to bring forgiveness in for this push-pull that's going on, this fight and this, tendency to judge your body because you're putting on the kilos and all of the rest of it. Hopefully that helps. I've just gone a little bit over time just for a change. I'm choosing as best I can to maintain my intention to keep these to half an hour. So my friends, many blessings. Thank you very much. Much appreciation for you choosing to stimulate these conversations and providing an audience for me to do this. It is basically, this is my process. This is my, what do I call it? Therapy, to sit here and basically do what I'm a little bit scared to do. I'm scared to do this sharing in public, scared to put myself on the line and give recommendations and all the rest of it. It's the truth, right? So here I am. And I'm telling you that not so you feel sorry for me or want to put me on a pedestal or anything. It's to inspire you to do the same, right? To allow yourself to find ways that you can stretch yourself into what is best going to serve you. I feel this is really serving me. So I'm very, very appreciative that you are giving me this platform to do this work for myself. And I'm very, very happy if it helps you too. So much love to you all. I will speak to you again, same time, same place next week, if not before. Much love. Bye for now. Namaste.